Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny and I'm an astrologer and an energy healer, and I work with the vibration of Archangel Metatron. So, welcome to everyone. So nice to be back with all of you. We've been really busy around here lately. I thought that the equinox energies were absolutely beautiful. I don't know if that put a spring in anybody's step. Certainly, I felt a shift with that energy come in. It was very significant for the Mars of the United States, like what's happening right now. So we've had an outbreak. We've had more than one outbreak of violence. Because of that, Mars relates to, war, battle, fighting, guns, swords, that kind of thing. So, that's understandable. Hopefully something will change with this energy now. But I also, I want to thank all of you who said condolences and for Rich and his family, and to thank everyone. I know I thanked each of you personally, but everyone who did make a donation, thank you so much. Obviously, if I am, giving the opportunity for people to give, it's not a command or a demand. It's just if you're in that place, and if you're not, you just go right by it. But one of you had shared a story with me in relation to giving the donation and how that came back to you. And I wanted to share that I had a similar experience a few months ago. For me, it was with boundaries, and I needed to return some money. It was quite a bit of money, just to show that the universe, that I was serious about my boundaries. And immediately I made a donation. I've been donating to, I don't remember the name of it, but it's where you text 707070, and it's for children who only eat during the school day because they're not able to eat at home. There isn't food at home. And, while we're a lot of us out of school, those kids just are not getting any food. So I've been donating just throughout the pandemic to that organization. And so I immediately gave a donation to them, and it came right back. And so, I had told her that I was going to share her story just for inspiration while Venus is getting ready to move Cazimi the sun and coming back as the evening star. Then, we want to look at where are we sharing, or if you're in a place where you could use some help, asking for help too. So, I wanted to share that and to thank everyone who just, sent energy, love to Rich's wife and his family. That was very nice. So, and I loved it too that those little kids showed up during that video because it was about Gabriel. And then as I was leaving, the mother, they were so cute, the little kids. She had them all in waders, like what you wear, fly fishing, and their water, boots, and they were all playing in the water around the waterfall. It's maybe this deep. So, and she had her two dogs there too, and she was like, oh, I tried to keep the kids quiet. I said, no, it's okay. And she was interested in astrology too, so of course it worked out that way. And something else with admin that I needed to share. So I am participating. I'm one of 22 astrologers participating in a free astrology summit that began on the 20th and goes on for 3 weeks. Each day of the summit, you're sent about a 45-minute to an hour or so long video. She also has like a feng shui specialist, human design, someone speaking on human design, and there are other things. In fact, my video is more about linking to psychic and intuitive gifts. We didn't get so much into astrology. We tied it in a little bit. But Suzanne Gerber is running that summit, and if you'd like to sign up, it is free. You have 3 days, 72 hours to listen to the video. If you don't listen and you want that video, then you have to pay once you pass that 3-day mark, because she has to pay her, technical people for all of that. So, and it's not like a huge amount either, but that information and how to book a session with me is in the description box, or the button on the phone says, I think, show more. So I wanted to mention all of that. And what else? So we're coming up to a fabulous full moon in Libra. The moon is going to be directly across the sky from Chiron and the sun and Venus. And because it's happening in the 6th house, that is a 6 of cups like energy. When we're feeling it or perceiving it in the highest vibration, that would be like a 6 of cups energy. So like a return to joy, something of a return to joy. So it's a really nice, full moon energy that we're moving into. And then Libra, of course, is ruled by Venus. And when Venus becomes the evening star, which she will do this Friday on the 26th, Rich's birthday, by the way. When Venus becomes the evening star, then we're looking more to how we relate to the other. What shadows do we perceive of the other? What light do we perceive in another? Are our relationships emotionally satisfying, nurturing? Are they feeding our soul? Are we in rhythm and harmony with that relationship? Or is it something that we're stuck with, kind of thing? So a lot of that happening in these energies. I want to mention that it's happening at 8 degrees and I believe 16 minutes. So 8 degrees plus of Libra. So, and then obviously the sun is facing that moon and he is in Aries. And Venus is right in that too. So she's overseeing this full moon, and ultimately Libra is about balance, harmonious balance between ourselves and any other, but also just in our own lives, like where issues of balance have been coming up. You may gain some insight as to why that is. We have let me get the times before I go too much further. So it's happening on the 28th and the 29th of March. In Chicago, it's the 28th at 1:48 p.m., which means 7:48 p.m. in London. And in Sydney, it's 5:48 a.m. on the 29th. And, this will be wrapping up something that began about 2.5 years ago, okay? That will depend on your particular chart. So it's going to be different for how it works for all of us. But one thing that is sure is that we have this Grand Trine in air. So this giant triangle that we have the energy of the moon, and then Saturn, and then Mars, who is sitting with the North Node, just the other side of the North Node in Gemini. So that's definitely a forward motion. Since the 1st of January 2021, when Venus crossed the South Node, all of the planets have been locked in between the nodes. None of them have gone past the North Node yet. Now Mars, who is the initiator, the one who goes forward, our drive, our ambition, our focus, he is breaking out of that, like being, okay, sorry about that. Mars is getting ready to take on a new quest. When the moon, and especially because the moon, the ascendant for this chart is 12 degrees of Libra. I just realized that's my vertex. The moon is in the 12th. So we may still be a bit fuzzy on the details because Mars is in Gemini. Of course, he's answering to Mercury, who rules Gemini. And Mercury is between admitos, which is a wrapping up and ending, something that's very deep. I mean, karmic is, everything is pretty much karmic, but this could be something that's like deeply held, is the way that Metatron is wording that. And Neptune is close to Mercury is close to Neptune. And so there may not be like the whole complete picture laid out for us. I think it's actually better that way anyway. When we know like the steps that we need to take next. And then that Saturn being tied in tells me that this is something with staying power. Something that can stand the test of time, and something that is concrete, that is solid. When Mars and Saturn are connecting in that energy of a trine, then it's something that we're building on. We're moving forward in a stable way, probably not so quickly. Everything isn't going to manifest in 12 months, but it's funny because I meant to say 6. But it is, we always have this dream, right? We begin, we start down the path. Then we may end up adding or deleting things that we hadn't planned on, but we're following the breadcrumbs and moving forward. And I told Metatron I'm just going to pull some cards just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And as I was shuffling the last time, I said I don't mind if they just come out. And right when I said that, the cards flew out, landed on the floor. It was the Ten of Swords reversed. So no more like fog, confusion, going over coulda, woulda, shoulda kind of energy, feeling like we're being dominated or forced, pressured. And then the Chariot, the Knight of Wands, and the Fool. So a new journey, a new beginning, something he's saying that we take on with gusto. The Knight of Wands. And then, of course, the Chariot I always associate with Metatron, and that is moving forward in like divine timing, and in the way that's most appropriate. Always because of this, Saturn Uranus square that we're in all year. If you are going to pick up something that you had set aside, add something new or do it, come to it in a new way. I'll give you an example. One of my friends is going to be teaching a class. She's bilingual, and she's always spoken in her native tongue while she's teaching. Now, and her English is great. Now she's going to teach it in English. So that's a good example, just to give you guys an idea of when I'm talking about coming at something. He's talking about like a new perspective that we have too. That we have more information, we've matured, he's saying. And then there is something really cool going on with this energy. So a noville aspect, which is 40 degrees, is what's happening from Saturn to the new. Now I need to check that. Hang on, you guys. Okay. Sorry. I actually, you know how I show you guys the picture? This time I actually drew on it and wrote notes, and so it gets a little tricky trying to read it. But yeah, from Saturn to Neptune, which are the big, Pluto you can count in that as well. But these are karmic forces, right, that we're dealing with, and especially when it comes to timing. Mercury is there with Admetos and Neptune because we're wrapping up a cycle. And this noville aspect between Saturn and Neptune it's finished, whatever it is. And it's for most of us, what is finished, he's talking about just falling away, what we're moving on from, letting go of gracefully is the way he's saying it, is most likely a karmic pattern, inherited pattern. Could be inherited health issues as well, but there's something ancestral that we don't want anymore. So that is why Nessus is facing Sphinx and Pandora's box. And then Vesta is retrograde in Virgo, facing Pallas Athena. So there's something of a new structures, new ways of caring for ourselves. And with Virgo, if you are giving something up, this could be just worry. It could be self-criticism. He's talking about self-harm, and he's speaking to punishing ourselves through habits of addiction. And that is always a way that we're punishing ourselves. That's all that is. And it typically comes from people who are, physically abused or just criticized, like henpecked to death, where, we never could do anything right. And that's sort of a way that we're soothing ourselves. But when it's in control of us, it's a punishment. So habits, addiction, but like I said, just habits of like being a pessimist, always cynical, that kind of energy. That's what is going, okay? And the reason that he's calling this vision quest is because Mars is in the 9th house of travel, and Gemini is associated with movement. We're going somewhere, and we're on this new quest. Mars rules the vision, our sight. So even if and he's talking about that it's for the long haul. Yeah, that's why when he said don't expect it in a year, remember when I was about to say 6 months and a year came out? This is such a huge wrap up and moving into a new cycle, such a giant timeline change, that this is going to play out over an extended period of time. I almost want to say since the nodes of fate were here, which would be about 19 years. The South Node just moved on from the Great Attractor, showing like something was surrendered kind of thing. And so if there is anything that you need help with surrendering, just ask. You're supported. You have an entire team devoted just to supporting you. So you might as well take advantage. But I want to read this about the noville aspect. And when we're talking about the noville aspect, that what's going on right now between Saturn and Neptune. Neptune, of course, is in his own sign. He doesn't answer to Jupiter. Everything that just went through Pisces was answering to Neptune as well. Okay, so the noville conveys a somewhat charismatic, transcendental, mystical force, latent karmic details, and spiritual growth. It is said to indicate development or the ability to digest information necessary for evolutionary growth. Novilles can indicate ceremony and relate to marriage and endings of marriage. Excuse me. This aspect can also symbolize a type of bondage that people may find themselves under with regard to the planetary energies that are involved. And because of what's going on with Virgo Pisces, that was why, habits came up. But health in general. This aspect, It is an aspect that can help you to acknowledge and release past lives that holds you in servitude, another lower Virgo expression. This aspect is used a lot in specialist fields such as karmic and spiritual astrology. So it's good. I mean, it's really good. There's nothing that I could say negative. I will say that there's an awful lot coming up about food and children and what's next. And so I'm just going to kind of watch that. I asked him about that. And, at some point, I don't know, not like tomorrow or maybe even in the next decade. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it is sometime in the next decade. I really don't think so, but it's possible. At some point we do start growing our own food. And I'm not going to get into the why. And I know, Tammy, you had said a lot of people bring up that they'd like to hear from Nostradamus, but that's not my timing. I don't get to say when that happens. listen because I'm listening to make sure that I do what's best for all that is. And right before, somebody had asked about Nostradamus, I was told to wait on all of those teachings that will be coming up, at some point. I can't say when that's going to happen, though. So Pluto also is trine Sedna and Michael, which are sitting on the fixed star Algol. And so, and especially because it's Pluto, that's also the ancestors, and Pluto obviously in Capricorn. I think that some of this may come up with like abandonment issues, or when you were treated as if you were worthless, made to feel, he's saying, as if you were worthless, as if what you were taught was that you did not have anything significant to contribute. And so because that was instilled, never thinking that it's possible that you might have. He is saying each and every one of you is a spark of the divine. You are pre-programmed with gifts of beauty and harmony, and how to manifest, bring those gifts to fruition in the here and now, okay? And that was Archangel Metatron who was saying that. And you're the magician, the Sabian symbol for the 9th degree of Libra or Aries. I'm not sure. I'll have to put that in the description box. I think it's Libra. But it's about a crystal ball. And what he wanted to say about that, what Metatron wanted me to share, is that see yourself, envision yourself in the crystal ball. Just like he's likening it to when our auric field is clean and enlarged. And we do look like we're in, I wish I had my quartz close, but it does look like we are in a crystal ball. And so seeing yourself, like when you do your full moon ritual, imagining that you have that crystal ball, how do you see yourself as a success? And then as it's good to, when you're doing these manifesting, any work with manifesting, to feel it, to feel what you feel like when you're in the seat of power that you're after. Like say you're looking to be a successful executive. What does your office look like? What does it feel like when you sit at your desk? What's on the desk in front of you? And what are you wearing? Part of this too is just going to be, he's talking about tender loving care, paying attention to ourselves, making up for the parenting that we missed out on. And he was talking about the energy right now with Mars, that it's the train leaving the station fully loaded for the long journey ahead. And then he started playing, I'm not going to sing it, climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. This is, it's possible, obviously, that this could be an energy where you meet a partner. Always it's possible. Does seem to be probably more of a breakup kind of feel, letting go, releasing contracts and relationships that we're done with, that we're just doing it out of habit or because of guilt. That's just not going to be sustainable is what he's saying. And the asteroid child too, of course, is right in that. So it is that 6 of Cups. I just want to say that depending on what's going on for you right now in your chart, Chiron and full moons, are emotional, even if it isn't an air sign. It could come up that way, that it touches something in you, maybe makes you remember, because full moons are always something illuminating, brought to light that we just hadn't thought of before. That goes along with what's happening with Mercury and Neptune too, that you could just gain some insight or see things in a way that you hadn't thought of it before. I always love those moments. But whatever that inherited, habit, whether it's just like being cynical, being a pessimist, or sugar, whatever it is finished. That's what he said when I looked at it. He said, it is finished. And then when I was looking at the, Saturn and Jupiter tied to that Mars, Jupiter is blessings and benefits and opportunities, gains. He said Wheel of Fortune. So it's great, you know, it's the Wheel of Fortune. And I mentioned all of the other cards. So yeah, I'm going to ask you guys to please, if you don't mind, and I don't like playing YouTube games, I don't like it, but I usually had, you know, like 4,000 views in the first 24 hours. Last time I put up a video, it took a week to get 4,000 views. Ever since I didn't allow comments, like, I think that was about 9 months ago, my views immediately went to half, and it's just been going down, dwindling ever since. And part of that is what's happening in my life, and the astrology that I have going on right now kind of goes along with it. But I am going to ask you guys to like, because I get a little bit like, well, if I'm doing the right thing, then what's going on? You know what I mean? So I'm still kind of like, I don't know what's going on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It is a really great full moon, you guys. It is. So, you know, bringing things into balance, harmony and balance is what he's talking about. And he's talking about enjoying the exploits of the Fool, of being in that Fool energy, starting from zero, starting from scratch. And now he is reminding me that each day is a new beginning, and to do something each day that adds value to your life. Invest in yourself. He's talking about experiencing moments of joy, appreciating the beauty that's all around us. And these flowers, I held on to these from the Astrology Summit video because they were so pretty. I did have to add some new tulips in there, but yeah, I hope a lot of you are taking advantage of that, because there's really some fantastic people involved in it. So yeah, it's exciting. But yeah, so I hope everybody is doing well, enjoying your early fall or early spring, wherever you happen to be. And I'm so happy to share with you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I will speak to you again next week. Take care.